Howdy from Texas, this is Heath Hipple with Bugs Fishing, and we are tying the next generation, the new and improved Curl-Tail Jig. We're going to tie the blue crab color, the best seller, and this is a 1/4 ounce Bugs Redfish jig head. And so before I put that in the vise, a little bit of preparation. The new and improved version has a rattle, and it comes with this rattle band, and I'm going to cut one of the ears off because it's just a single rattle that we're going to use. And this is the rattle. You install that on the rattle band just like that. Then the tail is going to be in line. It's going to point backwards just like the rattle, and so we're going to put a screw lock right there. And now we're going to load that onto the jig head. Just like so. Bring that all the way around. I'm going to push it a little bit further, and now we're going to load it. We're going to load it in the vise. All right, and so we're going to want, that's about 1/4 inch right there. Adjust this 1 second. There we go. About 1/4 inch space. All right, we are tying with Danville's 210 Denier. I'm going to start the thread on the hook. Several wraps, cut the excess. And now I'm going to make a lot of thread wraps on the tag end of the screw lock right there. I'm pulling the rattle band this way, and I'm making those thread wraps, and I'm going to do 2 whip finish knots, 5 turns. Don't want that to move. That anchors our tail. There's one more. Okay. So on the sides, and this is the blue crab color, and it's kind of reimagined. It's different than the old blue crab color. On the sides there are 2 Zonker strips. This is olive barred white, and I'm going to tie them right here parallel with the hook shank, tight up against the head. So there's the first one. This is our Atlas vise. It's a rotary vise, really nice, where you can just do that to tie in the other side. Here's the other piece of rabbit, the other Zonker strip. I don't want these to move, and so I'm tying a whip finish knot. Sometimes you'll have to hold them with your fingers as you tighten down that knot, but these aren't moving. Notice there's a little tag right there. I do that, and that's where I put the knots because I think that helps hold the materials. All right. The top piece is a Magnum piece of rabbit. For the blue crab, it's this olive variant color. And it's 1 1/4 inch long, so it's a little bit longer than the Zonker strips. You see I've cut it to a point there. That's just to taper it a little bit. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. I'm going to make a slit in the Magnum rabbit strip because that is going to help change out the tail. So there it is. There's that slit I cut in it. Slip that over the hook point. Put it back in the vise. Okay. I'm gonna angle it towards me. And I'm gonna tie that in directly on top. I'm leaving a tag again for that same reason, so the Magnum strip won't pull out. And there's one other reason it's gonna help me with the flash. I'll show y'all that in just a second. Okay. See, there's that tag. All right. So on these jigs, I like to put 3 pieces of regular flash and 3 pieces of UV crystal flash. The idea is that UV reflection helps them see it. Shines better in murkier water. So I tied in those 3 or the 6 total pieces right in between the Magnum and the Zonker strip, and they line up just about even with that Magnum strip on top. So now I'm bringing them around to the other side, and you see how that tag kind of tucks them in nice and neat right there. All right, and now I'm gonna start making thread wraps, and then I'm pulling them where I want to go, and then securing them with thread wraps, and I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut them even with that Magnum strip. All right. So now make more thread wraps there. Cover up the flash right there at the head, just for cosmetic reasons. And then I'm going to make my final whip finish knot kind of right in the middle. Pull that nice and tight. All right. Cut. All right. Phase 1 is done. I'm going to put hard as hell head cement on those thread wraps. Makes them more durable. Alright, now let's tie in the weed guard. On this new and improved version, I'm moving up to 50-pound mason. It's going to be better at bringing it through thick grass. It also makes it easier to bass fish with, and a lot of people do that. So you noticed how I changed the orientation of the head in the vise. That's because there's 2. It helps with this first part. There's 2 parts to tying in the weed guard. Put your thread wraps right there. Cut 2 pieces of that 50-pound mason, and see how they curve, and I'm going to use that curve, tie them in right beside each other, and I'm using my offhand, my left hand, to start them. And I make several wraps, and they'll sit in place there, and as I'm putting more thread wraps there, I'm just going to keep making little adjustments so they're straight. So I'm going to do a half hitch here. And so they are straight. I'm going to move my thread up a little bit, do another half hitch, and then I'm going to put a whip finish knot at the base and at the top. one. This just makes your bug more durable. The idea being you're taking the time to do it. You're going to catch a bunch of redfish with it, so let's make it last. Okay, so that's step one. Now I'm going to put the bug back like we had it in the weed guard, and so I'm going to trim this a little bit because it's too long. All right. So now I'm going to make several thread wraps. Right here, and then I'm going to do a knot, and it's going to kind of hold those in place. So the good part about that 50-pound mason is that it's going to be a more effective weed guard. The tough part is that it's more of a pain to get it to sit in the right spot. And so it's kind of that's what we're doing, kind of a two-part process. And so now I'm pulling it down again, and now I'm putting even more pressure here with my index finger, and I'm making more thread wraps. And when I release them, now they're in a better spot, and I'm going to do a whip finish knot right here to kind of anchor them there. Okay, so see how they're slightly above the hook point, and I'm going to get that hardest haul on it immediately because they tend to just creep up a little bit. All right, but see how we did it correctly, and so the tips right here are in line with that hook point. All right, so there's the rattle, our two side pieces. The top piece, that's looking good. Got to let that dry, and then I'll show you how to install the tail. All right, it's dry, so let's put the tail on. So the first thing you do, turn it over, pull this top piece of rabbit off, and as I'm pulling it off, I pull down on it. It's less likely that hairs are going to come out. And so then I pull all the materials back. And then this is the new double tail. And I'm going to pierce it with the hook. I don't go down very far. Bring it around once, twice. Okay, so it's sitting on the bottom, the tail like this, that's how it's going to swim. Put that top piece back on, hold everything back. Now it's ready to roll. So that is the next generation, the new and improved curl-tail jig. I hope you'll tie some yourself and then go put them in front of a redfish, flounder, bass. Catch you later.